That time of year, the St. Patrick's Day celebration is about to take place, and with it now, in step, is the great event, the Half Marathon, hosted by New Bedford and the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. Dan McCarthy is joining me here. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you very much for having me.
It's go time, man.
It is. It is very much so.
So, how many runners are we expecting this year? Do we have an idea?
Yeah, so we're looking at about 25 to 2,700 runners.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's about what we've had for the last couple of years, but with the winter since 2015 till now, we've had some pretty big late winter, early spring storms, as we're dealing with this week, and that turns off some runners, but it also gets some people to shake off the cobwebs and get ready to go out there and run. Yeah,
I mean, it's a precursor to the Boston Marathon. People are associating it as a warm up to the great Boston Marathon, and
it's 5 weeks prior to the Boston Marathon. Our race will always be held on the third Sunday in March. 41 years ago, it was designed that way. It was then the New Bedford Road Race, now the New Bedford Half Marathon, designed to test your training for Boston specifically.
I think it's vying for the number 2 spot because the Falmouth Road Race is obviously a big one. This is now right with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm partial. But I think it's a great day for the city. It's something the city should really be proud of.
Yeah. So like we were talking off the air yesterday, I was a little bit worried about the track, that the path of the whole marathon. But the sun did a nice job yesterday, and the city's going to help it out, and it should be good, right?
Absolutely. The city does an amazing job. It's really a celebration of the workers who put in their heart and soul into making sure that New Bedford puts its best foot forward on Marathon Sunday. The team at DPI, I can't give them enough credit this time of year. They're out there. They're fixing potholes. They're making sure that the streets are clean, curb to curb. Mm-hmm. We need curb to curb on the start finish line area. We we'll deploy more than 400 parking barrels, more than 3,000 parking cones to make sure that the runners are safe and protected from traffic, and the entire city administration does a great job to make sure that the runners are safe and the spectators have a good time.
Well, that's the thing. The good time after the race, it's almost like a holiday downtown.
Absolutely.
It's really a great thing to witness. You see people from out of town enjoying, what New Bedford has to offer once the race is over, and they feel good about the whole day. And so do the volunteers, the ones who it's not an easy thing to do, to build up a volunteer force the size of the one you guys have developed over the years.
Yeah, so it takes about 1,000 people on race day to make it all come together. We have 7 on-course water stops that average probably 65 to 80 people there to hand out water. Some of the earlier water stops get hit really, really quickly. With later on in the race, as the race thins out, it's a larger period of time to make sure that the water is served to the runners. But the YMCA does a great job. We have hundreds of volunteers at the YMCA handing out numbers and T-shirts and race programs, and then converting it from number pickup to the post-race meal and serving the post-race meal and cleaning up. It's an amazing. It's a case study in volunteerism and giving back to the city on an annual basis. And we encourage people who aren't familiar with it to come and just watch and take a look what goes on, and then join us and help out in future years.
Right. And one of the things I noticed right away when I moved down to the South Coast was the cooperation and the lack of any attitude. You don't see anybody really complaining about the slight inconvenience of having to think about how you're going to map out your day when you have to go into town or leave the area. People get it, and they understand how important it is, and they deal with it in a really great way. So the cooperation of the public is great too.
And there are a lot of organizations that we understand will be inconvenienced, right? So we're heading into Easter, and we know it's a very popular time at the churches, and the race does go off at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. So we understand that there are going to be some churches that are inconvenienced, especially in that County Street area, which is closed for a prolonged period of time. But under Chief Cadero's leadership, they reach out early. They talk to the churches, and through the Interfaith Council, they talk to organizations to make sure that people understand the importance of either getting off of the race course early, maybe going to an earlier mass that day. The people who are most kind of challenged are the people who might live on the peninsula. And
Right.
really, but it's the 41st time, and we try to say, celebrate that day. Get out there and watch the runners come down west through South and East Rodney French Boulevard and up to Cove Street. Get out there and celebrate and have a great time. We appreciate the fact that you're not going to be able to get in and off the peninsula from about 12 to 2, but it's for the greater good, and we appreciate that little bit of inconvenience they have to go through.
In the 19th century, there was a noted, I shouldn't bring it up because I can't remember which author, but I was shown the quote by the author who took a horse and buggy ride down the peninsula and said it was one of the most beautiful roads in America, and now it's part of this prestigious race. And I have to think that the course itself, just the scenic, diverse things that people see along the way, make it very enjoyable. And the word of mouth is what helped to grow this.
Oh, yeah. And it's really one of the unique times that people coming from out of town, and the majority of runners are outside of Bristol and Plymouth County, significantly the larger portion of the field are from outside. They get to see a beautiful swath of the city. They get to see the downtown area, but they also get to go up into the near north end, up by the golf course, and then down Rockdale. I mean, that Rockdale portion is, several miles long from, up by Durfee Street and then down by the park. They get to see Buttonwood Park. They get to see how transferring into the south end. And then you're right. They take that at about mile 8. You make that right hand turn onto West Rodney French, and that cove, that Clark's Cove area, West Rodney French. It's just beautiful. I mean, I'm not a runner myself. I can understand the wind can be a little bit challenging on the peninsula, but it's just such a beautiful treasure that we have living in the South Coast.
And the wind, can also be welcomed if you're because some of these can be warm too.
That's right. And what you're gonna that stretch. So you're about a mile on both East and West Rodney French, but depending on the wind that day, predominantly you're gonna hit it at mile 8. But on the way, you're gonna get the wind at your back for an equal amount of time.
Just like the Irish.
May the wind always be at your back. That's right.
Unfortunately, it won't happen in New Bedford because you're going two different.
Right.
Well, do me a favor, just because I know that there are those who don't understand the route. So let's go over the route.
Sure. So you start at City Hall Plaza. You head out and through the Octopus, where Pleasant turns back to Purchase Street. You head out Purchase Street out to Nauset Street, where you take a left. You're gonna you go up a small little bit of a hill there to join Hathaway Road. You're up Hathaway Road by the old Rosie's and the golf course. You take a left up at the top, and you do that sort of buttoned hook to get onto Rockdale. And from Rockdale, you go by the park, the police station, the park. Then you're back down towards not Durfee. I'm sorry. You cross Dartmouth Street, and then you come down and
we're down
all
there.
the way. Yeah, so all the way down. So that's about your 6 miles is about where Soul the Florist would be. Like that that area, and 7 miles is where the Burger King is, where you join Cove. Is that Cove Road, where you're heading back up towards.
Yep.
The
Orchard
new walk.
Cove and Rockdale.
Yep. And then you head east until you get to West Rodney French, where you take a right, and then it's right down West Rodney French all the way down to South Rodney French to East Rodney French, back up all the way past. We have the Friendly Sons Monument and water stop at mile 10. Then you take a left onto Cove, where you're going to head back. You're going to cross back over Route 18 to County Street, where you take a right hand. That's about mile 11 and a half, and that's our little Heartbreak Hill. So that portion of County Street from where Cove and County through Kempton again
Up to Allen.
is a little bit of a hill that's that challenges the runners. But then
I really never thought about that. I was thinking that the hill to be concerned with is when your legs are fresh, but as you're going up Hathaway.
yeah, so it's funny. So at Nauset Street's a little bit of a hill, and my wife was running a few years back, and she heard 2 women not familiar with New Bedford say, "Oh, this is the challenging hill at the beginning at Nauset Street," and my wife was like, "No, it's about a half mile from here."
Yeah,
and that's excuse me, I have a little bit of a head cold.
Yep.
Hathaway is a big but short, steep hill.
Yeah.
But County Street, the last mile's a bit of a
I guess it is an incline. Yeah, I never really thought about it, but yeah, I guess that would, if you're 10 and a half, 11 miles into it, you know, any incline's going to be
tough. You're rewarded though, because then you get that from where that Kentucky Fried Chicken is. You get a sprint downhill till you take a right-hand turn back onto the finish line area, right at the, you know, going in front of the New Bedford Hotel and the post office. Yep. Is a totally flat and beautiful sprint, but you had the momentum of coming straight downhill. So it always looks, it's a very great place to get a photo finish because
it looks like you're just fresh.
It looks like you're fresh.
Even though keep going.
Even though all you can think about is, you know, sliced oranges, water, and then getting down to the YMCA for the amazing chowder and fish sandwich.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's so much given to these runners as a reward just for running the race. And again, that's just the start because it goes as long as you want it to go afterward. I mean, there's such a celebration that and the taverns and restaurants downtown, they're all into it. They all love the day and they look forward to it. And it's just a lot of fun.
It is. It's a wonderful day. We encourage everyone in the city to get out, get involved, come and watch. Or just stand on your porch and clap as these people go by. They appreciate it. It's our 41st year. We're going to continue to do this, you know, as long as we can.
You're coming up to 50 years.
I know. It's 10 since the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick got involved. This is our 10th. This is our 10th running of the race.
I remember when you guys with the initial year.
Yeah,
it's already been 10 years.
I know it goes by so fast. We're not any older though. We're just getting better with age.
Well, the operation is getting better.
The operation's getting better.
It really is. And then you have. I think the climax of this is Ryan Dixon is at the end of the road race giving out the medals.
Yes, exactly.
So you get a photo up with the Ryan Dixon.
You know, he's the best. He's texting me all the time.
Is he?
He's a workaholic. They got the Bay Sox building we use for first aid. He was, you know, excited to tell me the other day they're already cleaned out and ready for first aid. And he's in for the whole day.
Ryan's a workaholic. Said no one ever before this, by the way.
Yeah.
No, but he's always, Ryan is just a great volunteer. He's always willing to help and give his time. And you know, I'm really proud of the things he gets affiliated with. This is just one of them. But so the road race it begins at what time?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. And the track usually the stragglers. How long does this?
We have a 3-hour course time limit, and about 3 years ago we started enforcing it a lot better by saying if you can't make the first 7 miles in 100 minutes, there's no chance you would finish on time. So we divert people. So we've gotten a lot better.
That would be me. I would not finish.
As it would be me as well. But and then we have this amazing partner in Alert Ambulance who they donate ambulances, paramedics, EMTs, and they have a bus that helps a lot of runners who make that 100-minute cutoff and are allowed to keep going, then might slow down. Alert offers a bus service that goes around and picks up people that have like something happened at mile 10 and they're just not going to be able to
behind
finish.
The clock. They're eliminated.
Behind the clock. Yep. Because we have to reopen the city streets.
Yeah.
So and
they know going into it, right?
They know, they sign a waiver. They acknowledge the fact they can do it in under 3 hours, and if they can't, we have plenty of opportunity for them to safely get back downtown,
where it's not a total disaster waiting for you.
Right. You actually, if you get deterred at the 7.5 mile mark, which is what probably happened to me, you're faster to the YMCA for the fish sandwich and the chowder, and then quicker to the bars for the good seats and the good music and live entertainment. So.
Yeah. There's a no lose situation here. I'm looking forward to it, and I know that the city is always very festive, and everybody loves this day. You know, I understand that there are some things that are inconvenience, but I think they've learned to live with it, and they find the silver lining no matter what. So
absolutely, we're excited. The Friendly Sons couldn't be happier that we got involved 10 years ago, and we're in this for 10 more or more. So we're excited.
All right. Dan McCarthy, thanks so much for joining us. Did we leave anything out? I want to make sure that we covered everything.
One thing I would just say is if you're coming as a runner from the local area, acknowledge the fact that on Sunday there are no bags allowed into the YMCA gymnasium. The YMCA does have first come, first serve lockers available.
There's a lot of them.
There still is the one thing I would say, there still is going to be some snow on the ground. So put that as a factor into maybe your parking situations. Both the Elm Street and Zeiterion parking garages are open, along with the Whalestooth parking lot, and we have a shuttle service running from the Whalestooth parking lot to the YMCA and back from early in the morning on Sunday until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
2 in the afternoon. All right. So 11 to 2 is a 3-hour course for the superhumans who are able to do it. What's the course record, Dan? Am I going to stump you here? Do you know it?
No, of course. Yeah. So Jeff Smith, who still lives in Mattapoisett, 2-time Boston Marathon winner, has it in 101.59.
Wow.
And and that's unbelievably impressive. And that's his 30. That's standing for 33 years now. And then the women's course record was set by Ingrid Christensen, and that in 1989, and it was a then world record, and I believe it's 1 hour and 10 minutes for the women.
For the women,
so I mean 1:10:38, but a world record was set in New Bedford.
10. No, what was
101.59 for the men? And I think it's 1:10:38 for the women.
So it'd be tough to chop off 2 minutes, I would think. That record might be solid.
That record is solid. I mean, Jeff was.
What year was that?
85.
Okay, so it's
Jeff's running this year. So Jeff Smith and 2 of his kids are going to be running the Boston Marathon on April 16th. Jeff will be running and his son Edward will be running the Bedford Half Marathon this year, and I'm pretty sure that he's confident in the fact that his record will stand. However, we have had some Olympians in the field in the past. We have Cape Verdean Olympian Ruben Sanka, who's from Lowell, Massachusetts. He's coming back. So, and Tim. There's some guys who went to the Tim Ritchie and others who went to the 2016 U.S. Olympic trials in the marathon are in the race field, and every year we get some surprises. One year we had a New Zealand Olympian take the women's title. So every year the people run pretty fast, but I'm pretty confident those records are pretty strong.
I don't think you're going to get further away than New Zealand. I was about to ask. We're getting some international runners here, and boy,
we do. We actually, it's such a draw, and in the running community. I've had we about 2 years ago we had a call the night before the race from someone who was from Scotland but flying from a conference in New Orleans, had a layover in Boston, pushed his flight to run New Bedford and asked if he could get in. We said, yeah, sure. And he said he had heard about it. Running USA magazine had listed us the fastest half marathon in the country with an annual race field of more than 2,000 runners. So we're really, really proud. The runners love the race, and the volunteers couldn't be more psyched that it's only a few days away.
Now, for the runners, I mean, it is the ideal time because you overheat. 13 miles, you're going to overheat. So if it's in that 38 to 50 range, or 45 range, that's pretty good.
Exactly. No, the thing is no precipitation and above 40 degrees. The runners are really happy.
Do we have a forecast for Saturday? Do we know the forecast?
Funny, the guy who runs our start-finish line for the last 25 years or more, Dave Richard from Fairhaven, he's my weather guru.
Yeah.
And I don't look at I get stress and unnecessary panic. So I don't, I let him tell me it's going to be 40 degrees or more, and I don't really worry about it because as much as the luck of the Irish, we try, we can't control it.
Do you want an idea of what they're thinking?
42.
Sunny, 40 degrees.
That's beautiful.
It really is. And so for people that are out, as fans watching it and supporting the runners, you bundle up like you would any parade. And but for the runners, that's great.
Oh yeah, and if you're downtown as a spectator, or if you dropped off a loved one who's going to run, all the downtown businesses are open.
Right.
Go to a museum, get involved, watch the start. Do something downtown, come back for the finish. You can actually watch the start, walk either up to County or walk all the way up to Buttonwood Park on Union Street and walk back. Driving is a challenge. You're not going to be able to drive it,
right.
But you definitely could watch the start, walk to Buttonwood Park, see them at mile 6, come back down to County, see them at mile 12, walk down to the finish line, see them at the finish, and then enjoy yourself for the rest of the afternoon.
And every year, it seems as though there's a new place to visit downtown, for new foods and whatever. I mean, it's just, for the people that are visiting, it's probably fun for them to see it evolve as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Dan. Thanks for coming in. And,
thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. It's always fun to get ready for this event. The half marathon, New Bedford Half Marathon. I would call it the second biggest event in New Bedford annually. You know, you get the Madeira Feast and the road race, and after that, there's some arguments, but clearly it is a day that the whole city is behind.
Yes, the largest single-day sporting event in southeastern Massachusetts.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Phil Paleologos Show. This is Ken Pittman filling in, and we'll be back.